I'll lie to you in 1 second. Breaking news in the cold email space. Email warmup is hit again. Let me show you this really quick. So I'm here. I'm on Twitter. I'm looking at whatever I'm looking at, and I see this tweet pop up. This is from the founder of GMass, AJ Goel. If you saw the last breaking news stream, he was the first one to get hit by the Google update, which removed Warmup from his tool. Now, once that happened, a bunch of major tools, all the major tools pretty much have basically segmented their usage. So the main tool here is using Google API to log in, but the Warmup now was kind of just using IMAP like off to the side. In this latest update, 15 hours ago, Google has now said all of those tools that have switched to using that black hat, gray hat warm-up system in association with the Google API are now also going to get hit. So let me pull on Jesse Ouellette, cold email expert here, and let's talk through this because this is shocking, Jesse. Get in here.
This is absolutely shocking. I mean, it is. I mean, this is just an unexpected chain of events that happened. I have no idea. And there's even something in here that even scares me a little bit more. Look at number 2.
Okay, number 2, remove any content advertising or with reference to email warming services for your Google accounts on the homepage.
This means you can't even advertise that you're doing email warm-up. So you have to take it out of. So if you're Mailshake, if you're reply.io, if you're all of these companies that have invested, hundreds of thousands of dollars in security and auditing and dealing with Google engineers, which sounds like the right thing to do, but what's going to happen is they basically want you to stop. I mean, this was a trap from the beginning. I almost feel like this could be the biggest news ever in cold email.
It's crazy because what we're going to see is last time, this was a couple weeks ago, they announced the first step of this, which is any tool that is using the Google API cannot use Warmup using the API. So everybody basically switched. GMass, their IMAP login, they built their own thing last minute. Lemlist switched over 6 months ago without telling anybody and only announced it after we did our live stream. But guess what?
Weird.
All of that is, but guess what? All that's broken now. So what are we gonna see? Because what I think we're gonna see is now they're all gonna have to either change everything about their advertising to remove Warmup, or change everything about their tool to remove it from the Google API. But either way, it's a giant change for the space.
It is a major change, and what I'm seeing happening is companies are starting to say, like, we're not really doing warm up. We're doing like content sharing with, like, there's some spin moves that are going on, and they're starting to break off the products. Like, I'm even seeing, I go to the Lemworm website, and look, I love Lemlist. I love the Lempire, right? And they know what they're doing. But what's really happening right now is it's just an unprecedented chain of events where these people came in, they purchased security audits from a company, and now the company is telling them that they can't do it. And it makes sense. I mean, I respect the move by Google. I think it's a great move to get, these things out of the API, level the playing field, because guess what? Not everybody has $30K to go build a warm-up tool with Google's API code.
Yeah, well, now they can't even build it.
Now they're completely out of business until they figure this out. Now I wonder, I mean, we almost should go through each of the company's websites and try to figure out if they're in compliance with the new. So I don't mind sharing my screen. We could just look at them really quickly.
Yeah, you've got it.
Let's take a look at how compliant we are right now, right? So the first one we'll look at, let's look at reply. We know they're on, so let's just talk about it. They are on the Google API. They have access to the API. They're using it, correct? I'm pretty sure. Yep. So like inside their product, they are. So let's just, and we, this is the best information that we have right now. If it's incorrect, please correct us, put it in the comments, but let's take a look here. So under products, do they have a warm-up tool in here listed? Let's take a look. Okay, let's see if there's a warm-up They had a price on their pricing page. So let's see. So sales engagement. Okay. Wow. Are they? Oh. The word warm is. I don't see the word warm yet. Let's see here. Okay, so they might have. A lot of companies saw this coming, I guess, and they must have. I mean, I just don't even. This is very interesting. It's a very unprecedented. It's just an unprecedented chain of events where these companies invested seriously, like in these warm up products that were essentially against the policy, and they thought they could just slip by Google's,
Yeah, well, the policy was
crack security team, which is probably the best in the world.
it wasn't it like you said, it might have been a trap from Google, because what I've seen, and I can't find this tweet right now, but Google has announced a MailChimp competitor in the last couple days. So Google now has launched a new product that is an email sending product. So in a way, it could be an anti-competitive move.
Wow.
Especially if they end up using cold email as part of that product.
They might build sequencers and charge people. Maybe people do want it. It's just crazy that any company thinks they can own email. I mean, it's an internet protocol. It was built in the 60s, right? I mean, like, let's see, Warmup. Do we have any Warmup here that we need to look at? Let's see. So pricing. Does pricing include Warmup?
This is what
So
this is
Warmup
why
is part of this. They're going to have to change this when they get the email. They will have to take this out. They will not be able to advertise this if they plan on using the Google systems.
Share your screen again.
Yep. Sorry about that. We're going to go to the Mailshake, which is a long time company. They've been doing this for quite a while. Take a look. We're now live here looking at this email warm-up service. They will have to take that out.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right. Or they can't advertise it because how would they advertise that? I don't see how that would be possible based on your previous compliance email.
What I'm wondering too is this opens them up to liability. So let's say, for example, Mailshake is doing sales calls. They have Warmup still hidden in the tool. They remove it from the website. A salesman 6 months from now happens to mention on a sales call that they do Warmup. Mailshake at that point could just be removed from the Google API altogether. So this is, I would be worried.
They're going to have to get really clear with their sales.
Yeah, I'd be worried if I was a salesperson for these companies, because let's say, that salesperson now has taken so much business value from a company like this, they might even be liable from a lawsuit from the founder.
Well, none of us are attorneys, but I mean, hey, anything's possible, I guess, in the world, the global economy that we have. What are the other companies here that we have? What are some of the other big sequencers? Ample Market. They're on the, I believe they're on the Google API official. Let's take a look. Do they have, and look, we're just checking. I mean, email deliverability is a big deal. And let's see, boosted inboxes. It's a booster.
So they're not using the phrase warm up, and now let's see how smart.
Yeah, I don't know. This is a stretch here. You'd have to log in, but they know better than we do that hopefully they're not selling it as a warm up tool, right? I think the word warm up is going to be heavily criticized, right? And this is just, Google has the power, right? They run the API programmatically. You're signing terms and conditions saying you will not do this because you do want external authentication. Now, I wonder, is this smarter for companies like yours and other companies that haven't really invested with the Google security team to build Warmup? Right?
There's two levels to it. So Omni.us uses IMAP login, which is the safest one, because like you said, nobody owns email because it's just an internet protocol. But when you send through the Google API or even the soft Google API, like companies like Instantly are doing, it's showing Google exactly what you're doing. So yeah, any tool that's using IMAP and SMTP is safe. And
so
in fact, even
if they don't have the checkbox, but they're using the OAuth 1, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I wouldn't even trust OAuth 1 if you want to talk a little bit about what that is.
Because they could shut that down. That's against the terms and conditions that you're essentially approving. But is the user liable? Is it the user that's doing it versus Instantly like taking the risk? No, because you're probably adding Instantly to your G Suite. So they probably would want Instantly.
You are. When you log in with OAuth 1, you're creating or looking up a app inside of G Suite. to build. So yes, they could ban those apps, but what's going to happen after that? They're just going to crack down on everything.
What are some of the other ones out there? Groove, do they do any warm up? Let's see. Email, I'm getting all the like rap videos here, but email, Groove, sequencer. Do these guys do any sort of geez, there's another Groove. Mixmax, they don't do warm up, I don't think. I believe they're on the API, but they don't do warm up. So they did not get into the warm up game. Okay, smart move by, I think this is a great move. This is just serious breaking news right now. Thanks for getting me out of bed to do this, but
yeah,
this is incredible. I can't. It's a breaking change of events.
So a bunch of them do. Almost every tool does warm up in some way, right? Lemwarm, which they patched it 6 months ago, and their patch is now going to be broken. Mailshake has not patched it, but also if they don't change something, will be removed from the API.
Woodpecker.
Woodpecker, yeah. Woodpecker also does offer warm up.
Okay, historically. Let's take a look. So they will have to stop talking about warm up on their site if they want to stay. And these guys, they have a very strong tie because they're a Chrome app store, right? They're like all Chrome, right?
Yeah. The bigger thing, or another thing that I'm worried about, is the SEO implications of this. So let's say you've got, how many backlinks is Mailshake going to have to delete, or Lemlist, because they've been optimizing so long for keywords.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is,
so it's just a lot of effort from, like, if I was any of these founders, not founding Omni where we already have IMAP, if I was any of these other founders, I would be freaking out right now.
I would be nervous right now.
Or trying to sell the business talk, yeah, trying to just quit. I'd throw in hell.
So what's going to happen if so Alex, let me ask you a question. If you're an SDR and you're used to using Warmup or sales rep, and you're using one of these tools, what do you do? Do you go back to the vendor? What would you do? I mean, would you ask for,
okay.
So this is my biggest question.
I'll hypothetically say Mailshake. I'm not attacking Mailshake directly, but Mailshake and other tools have recently switched to annual only plans. So you can only sign up for the annual. You have to get that year-long commitment. And yes, one of the major features is Warmup. So depending on how their terms are structured, if I had just bought a tool that was all in and I just spent tens of thousands of dollars to get my whole team on annual plans of XYZ tool, not saying Mailshake, I would be furious. Yes, and I'd be trying to cancel and pull out of the contract.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. I don't really know. I mean, my interest is obviously right inside the salespeople being able to deliver emails, high priority emails, relevant sales cold emails, right? That's always been my mission. But I think this jeopardizes it for a lot of people that have thought they could just use, you're almost better off just spooling up a Google sheet and connecting with their own Gmail API if you're already on the API, or looking at tools like Smartly, like Omni, and like some of the other ones that are out there that did not, or Instantly for that matter. Instantly is using, they probably got to get rid of their OAuth 1 because that was,
I wouldn't trust OAuth 1
next, right? OAuth 1 will be next, right?
OAuth 1 is, it's built in a similar way. If Google can just, because you're showing Google exactly what you're doing with OAuth 1. It's the same as a login. It's just off the books instead of approved. That would be next. I wouldn't trust anything with OAuth 1 or actual OAuth in it. Tom Beam asks, is Instantly affected by the new Google notice? Right now, it's unclear. However, Google has access to everything that Instantly users are doing through OAuth. So they could. They could if they wanted to do this. It's very dangerous. If I was using Instantly, I would switch to IMAP immediately if you wanted to keep using Instantly, and just remove all of those logins. Go back to the old way, the app password way.
Yep, you're going to want to get familiarized really quickly with this app password method that works. And the reason you want to do that is because you're essentially logging in like it's like the old way, where you're basically a regular email user, right? Now, this isn't going to go away. SMTP and IMAP, these are internet protocols, right? They're going to have to make these things work. There are so many devices out there. There are so many things out there that rely on the fact that Google, they're an email provider. If they don't have IMAP and SMTP and POP3, like these are, maybe not POP3 because there's a more secure method, but they're going to need to provide ways for the users to do that. Now, even if you have a room full of VAs sending emails for you in a warm, you know, office, I guess that's email warm up as well, but that's not, you know, like that's the same method. That's the old way of doing it, right? Now you do it more programmatically, right? So it's very interesting what's going on. This is a crazy chain of events. I never thought this would happen, actually.
No, this is very interesting. Quick question here from Alex Berland. By the way, love your name, almost the same as mine. Does this mean that Google Workspace will be looking to ban workspace accounts for those warming emails in the future, even without Google API? It appears they attribute Warmup to bad user. Yes, it's very similar to SEO. So in the search engine optimization space, there was a very bad flood of user-generated spun content, which is basically where somebody would take an old blog post and use machines to just rewrite a almost identical but completely different in the eyes of Google article. And this flooded the search engine with content. And Google has been at war with these SEO tools ever since. And this has been going on since Google started in 2003, 2004, when all these SEO tools started popping in. Google's a little older than that, but around then. Now the race is on with cold email the exact same way.
Arms race right now.
The arms race. Yeah. What changed in this year, specifically 2023, and really the end of 2022, is Google now cares about fighting cold email and fighting spam at a level we haven't seen before. Traditionally, the way Google has fought spam, they've done it through a bunch of means. At one point, they had blacklisted entire countries. Like if you were in India trying to send an email to the United States, it would just go to spam. Or if you're in Nigeria trying to send an email to the United States, it would go to spam. In the last couple of years, maybe around 2019, 2020, they removed that. And now ever since, they've been having to fight a little bit more manually there. The AIs are also getting smarter. You know, we've got Google just launched their AI tool, which kind of shows you their capabilities. But Google has the ability to look at an email and tell if it's a cold email, regardless of what's going on. You know, they don't have to look at keywords. They don't have to look at anything. It's just a machine learning algorithm. So
They know.
it's smart. Yeah, they know. The only thing that I would be doing if I was Google and I saw this is I would just be trying to figure out how hard do you want to go, right? Because if you push too hard, you might screen out too many emails. But if you don't push hard enough, you get a little bit of spam. So it's really just balancing an algorithm they already have invented. So it's just a matter of time.
Yeah. Now, Alex, do you think that, I mean, like what will happen? I mean, you think about a sales rep today and what they're dealing with, right? So like you always hear like gurus tell you, oh, it was so much harder back in my day, blah, 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 blah. You always hear that. But now when you're talking about, you know, sales reps today, they're fighting to make phone calls because most of these phone numbers are getting on spam lists. They're fighting to send emails because of the blacklist or the like sort of like domain reputation and all cold email, like this whole, I mean, obviously even Warmup's going away in this regard. And they're fighting, they can't do SMS. It's probably illegal most areas and they don't want to get fined. And then LinkedIn is now busting on the terms and services. I mean, what are you going to have to do to be a sales rep in the modern age to go outbound?
You're going to have to make it work. Of everything that you mentioned, yes, cold email, cold SMS is tough. LinkedIn could crack down. You know, there are new channels opening up, first of all, like Twitter DMs. People are now cranking out, like they're finding ways to do it. But two, keep in mind, cold email is still the way that B2B teams grow across Silicon Valley and across the world, including teams inside of Google. I've received cold emails from Area 120, which is Google's incubator. I've received cold emails from a bunch of companies inside of Microsoft. So they use cold email the same way as us. So long term, I'm still bullish on cold email just because, like you said, it's not like these guys aren't companies. The sales guys inside Google have to sell the same way we
right.
Especially as the economy is crushing. Like Google stock went down. Let me show you this. Google stock
They're
went
gonna have a
down.
hard time if they can't call their own team internally and break through.
Yeah, no, you can see Google is down 7% on a competition with Microsoft. So if you guys don't know the context of this, Microsoft owns ChatGPT, and Google has now released their own version. And basically, in the launch tweet, they were saying it's on point, like the search results are relevant. In the launch tweet, the AI produced results that weren't factually correct, and their stock dropped 8%. So Google is hurting right now. And because of that, they need sales more than ever. So we might see more anti-competitive features, you know, like them fighting against other sending tools. but they're not going to kill cold email because their team needs to send these emails to hit their numbers. As Google's going to move away from the advertising model, which we're seeing now as Microsoft starts taking away their ad share, they're going to need to get their other businesses profitable.
Jeez, man. So I think, it's like, will people go to do other weird things? Like, are they going to go to like letter writing? And by the way, how do you even get a warm-up tool past your IT team now that Google has told your IT team that it's not acceptable on their platform? I mean, you are going to have to like what you're going to see is a lot of companies are going to be faced with a decision to go gray hat tactics, which are, warm up is a gray hat tactic in a lot of ways, right? Let's be very real. Most companies that are of like a Series B or C funding round, and like the kind of tech companies, their security teams are going to ask some extra questions, or they're going to probably want an agency to run it, which also creates opportunities. But
yeah,
I guess, what do you think? I mean, do you think companies will still do email warm up, or do you think?
Well, as a salesperson for a cold email tool that's talked to a lot of these Silicon Valley companies, a lot of them are still in 2016 when it comes to cold email. So
Yep.
a lot of them don't even know what warm up is. One, two, a lot of these tools might just delete warm up. Like Lemlist with their market can survive without warm up. Mailshake, if they move a little bit up market, they can move to people that don't need warm up, because the vast majority of the enterprise and the funded startups with their unicorn valuations, these guys are sending, a lot of them are sending from their main domain. Like when I got cold emails from Area 120, it was at area120.com. I've gotten cold emails from @google.com. Like they do not know what domain forwarding is. They don't know how to mask their domains, and they're not using warmup right now.
Yeah.
So we just have to realize that we, even by talking about email warmup, are ahead of the curve. Little guys ahead of the curve for once on the major corporations. Very surprising. So no, I think it could end up being it's an opportunity for tools like us. I was just talking to a Salesforce consultant as well, and he does Salesforce and HubSpot, and it's the exact same way. So what we might see is a lot of these tools move from doing warm up and outbound to maybe doing internal communications more like HubSpot. So now they're setting up, their follow-up sequences, and they're doing all of these like inbound things. And then the more gray hat tools, the IMAP tools like Omni or Instantly or one of these other tools, those are going to grab all of that new market share. One more thing I wanted to say on this is Google is not the end all be all for sending cold emails. Raul, who's one of the founders at Instantly, tweeted this the other day. He has stats about which sending tools have the best deliverability. Not that I trust these stats, and I was talking to them about it and some better ways that they could do this, but it just lists what's going on, right? So you're using Google. A lot of people are using Google, and that doesn't mean that Google is necessary, right? Zoho has a strong email platform, and Outlook as well has a strong email sending platform. So just because Google
You're going to have a lot of, it depends on who they're emailing is really the only way to measure it, though. That's the only.
Yeah, no, this is what I was telling him.
they'd have to.
I was in his comments hard about this. Like, I wouldn't trust any of these stats.
But I like how they put this together. It's just you'd have to do to make this more accurate. What you'd have to do is you'd have to put the MX records that they were emailing. So you'd have to do a fair kind of cohort like comparison where Google is emailing Microsoft and vice versa. Then like maybe even even internally like Google, because you can figure out who they are. Then there's also these other security players like Barracuda, Ironport, which is like the Cisco product. Some of the other ones that are out there, Mimecast, Proofpoint. There's like 4 or 5 other ones. And like, you'd have to kind of compare it against those records because it dramatically changes when you're inside the network. That's just a pro tip here. I'm sure Alex has dropped that before, but it's like, if you email people inside your own email delivery system, you can dramatically increase your reply rates and kind of, visibility on your email.
Well, there you go. Yeah. So the easiest fix then would be, they could do some more testing for sure. 32 million emails analyzed.
They have the data, so they could easily go back and look at the inboxes of the, like if they took that cohort of, replies, they would take that cohort and they would look, okay, let's see how they do inside their own network. Because that favorably, any AI model is going to favor their own delivery as a safer. Your own organization will always be safer, just based on how AI works and how modeling works. So that's something to think about, is like, if you're emailing people inside Gmail, you're going to get a better delivery rate. Something that a lot of companies are now starting to figure out. And, you can build these kind of systems to do that. And it's really easy to figure out who somebody's using for an MX record. You just check that out. And, if you kind of match the MX record, this is something that really advanced cold emailers are doing. You'll match the records together. So you're emailing Gmail with Gmail, and then Google, Office with
I love
Office.
I like what you're saying in practice. I feel like we'd have to have a whiteboard to fully
Yeah.
get it across.
I feel like that guy on, the guy there with all the like diagrams out, but like it totally works when you do it.
Yeah. Let's do some quick questions here. So I like calling them quick questions, honestly. It's very cold email centric. Let's do some quick questions. Olin says, buy a handwriting robot. This is actually something that we're going to start doing. If you look at omni.us and what we're building here, not only are we doing the cold email right now, and we have texting if you want to do that, but we're going to have gifts. We're going to have handwritten notes written by a handwriting robot. Yes, going out. Twitter, LinkedIn, voicemail drops, and everything. So you talked about what's going to work in the future, Jesse, and it's going to be the omni-channel approach, because some group of people is going to, send a cold email and get marked as spam, right? But that doesn't mean you could never contact them ever again. They might be on Twitter. They might be on LinkedIn. So it's going to be the sales guys that actually approach through an omni-channel manner that are going to win in the future. And not just omni-channel like Omni supports, but omni-channel like omni-channel. Like, hey, I'm a sales guy. I'm going to, instead of sending emails, yes, I'm going to send emails. Yes, I'm going to send LinkedIn. Yes, I'm going to send Twitter. I'm going to also go to SaaStr, and I'm going to meet everybody there. I'm going to also go to Dreamforce, these conferences, and I'm going to meet everybody there, because that is the one thing Google can't ban. They might be able to ban you from Dreamforce, but you can always go to another conference.
Oh, it's crazy. It's getting crazy out there, man. It's nuts. I never thought it would get to this point. When you told me this tonight, when I saw that message tonight, I'm like, uh-oh. I mean, I had a feeling that's where they were going to go next, but I did not anticipate them. What's really interesting is the reach on asking them to take it out of their marketing.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is just, I mean, can you imagine that, right? Like asking a company to change their entire, like, what? Like,
and I don't know.
Excuse me.
I don't know how
strategy, right? Like,
it's detailed too. Like we're saying, it's going to affect their SEO teams. And what about like press releases that they released a year ago that mentioned Warmup in relation to their software? Could they get hit on that potentially? Who knows?
So Alex, let me play a scenario. You're a SaaS founder. You've got 20 million in ARR coming in, and let's say 5, because it's probably more realistic, but you have 5 million ARR coming in. You're doing annual deals. All of the deals have been predicated on your email delivery is going to be better. You went through external OAuth and you were approved. And now you wake up, let's say East Coast time tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. and you get this message from Google compliance department, the police. And what would you do? Like, what would be your first reaction? Walk me through the emotions. What would you do? Who would you call? Like, I mean, you're probably, you don't have this problem, obviously, because of the way you're architected, but talk me through it. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are.
Okay. So step one would be, you can counter it on 2 ways. So one is I would not announce directly yet until we had a fix in place. And here's why. Because a lot of our customers might not even know we have Warmup engaged. So number one, what I would do is make sure that our tech team had IMAP and SMTP set up in the software somewhere. Like that doesn't have to be built, but let's talk to the CTO. Let's make sure that IMAP, maybe they dig up that old code. Maybe that needs to exist somewhere in our software.
Maybe they legacy code it and now it's back. Yeah. It's like production code now.
Yeah, whatever it is. So let's make sure that is underway to be built in the next couple weeks. Number 2, I would send somebody to basically study Google compliance and possibly even yell at our Google rep and just ask them what's going on and just check some.
Can I get my money back?
Yeah, exactly.
Did you ask for your money back? That's like my
money back. I would also maybe be looking to have them look through our website. Number 3, we're going to have to talk to our marketing team, and we're going to have to find every instance that we mention Warmup. And that is almost as big as building the IMAP feature into the tool, because we're going to have to identify every SEO article that we've mentioned, every tweet that has ever gone out that mentions Warmup in relation to our company, every ad that's been running. Now, we're probably going to have to talk to our ad buyers, and they're going to get mad and frustrated. Like there's weeks and weeks of calls just on that side. And then, once all that's done, let's say, a day of those conversations, getting those balls rolling, and we have sort of a solution in place, then we would start contacting customers, starting with the ones that are the heaviest users of Warmup, because we do have this data, right? Because let's say you're on an annual plan. There's probably 30% of users that are on the annual plan that don't even send cold emails. No need to talk to them. Then there's probably like 40 or 50% that are just sending cold emails and don't even know you have Warmup. Really don't need to talk to them. And I would just start with the ones that do have Warmup. Send them an email, let them know what's going on, let them know to expect changes and that plans are coming soon. And I would even go as far as to say, if you are a customer of these companies and they don't talk about this, I would be really worried. I don't want to say the company name by name, but last time we talked, we did this live stream and we were calling out one company for not having this fix in place. And they just got on and they're like, oh yeah, we fixed this 6 months ago and didn't tell anybody. I would be very worried about companies that act like that.
You're talking about the one that was in the thread? Yeah, on my post. Yeah, right. It's on
yeah. I'd be very worried about companies that act like that, where they're making strange changes on the back end and not fully communicating it with their users until it's too late.
No, we don't use API. We don't use the API. It's very convenient timing all of a sudden. Yeah. Wow. This is just, I wonder how the US will react to this. I know it's late now. Hopefully most of the US people are in bed by now. And, the West Coast is starting to hit it. I don't think they're probably like completely out, but they got like one eye open and saying like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, well, good cold email news.
This storm tomorrow. This is going to be one of the biggest topics in SaaS, I believe. I hope it is.
I agree.
Everybody should be talking about it.
So let's do some quick questions here. Why not transferring to Outlook or Zoho? Are they getting affected by Google's decision? Right now, no. Zoho is fine. Although Zoho has other issues. For instance, they were all getting marked as spam for other reasons recently because they were sending through Indian servers, which, like we talked about, the original Gmail spam filter was just to block the country of India. So Zoho has other issues. Outlook also has other issues, being that they're run by Microsoft, and they have some of the tightest spam spam rules against them versus Zoho and Gmail. So Gmail has been the best of both worlds for a while. It's not as black hat and sketchy as Zoho, while also not being as white hat and compliant as Outlook. So now Google's moving way towards Microsoft. I think this has a lot to do with as well the Microsoft Google war that's going on, on all fronts. Google must be terrified, and all of these steps. All of these steps they're taking with email sending now, with fighting ChatGPT, it says that. I would not want to be Google right now. This is a move that's done out of fear, not a move that's done
defensive. It's defensive. And really it comes back to ads, right? What's going to happen if cold email stops working? You're going to start to call your ad agency and you say, hey, kick it up a notch. Here's another $3-4 grand a month. That's what you're going to do. And that could be the difference between, they probably believe that a lot of their money, which I think is probably not true, actually. I bet if you really looked at the data, it would probably be incorrect. I think it takes a certain appetite to do cold email. But, I think there's probably a lot of people who are thinking, shit, maybe I'll go kick up my, SEM kind of, team that's been sleeping for the last, 6 months because we started using cold email, on people are going to get nervous, right? Like that's what's going to end up happening.
I 100% agree. People are going to get nervous, and people are already asking questions like, Demilla, should I tell my clients to move from Google Workspace to Zoho or Outlook? I would say no right now, because I don't. Zoho is as cool as they are, probably as fast growing as they are. Yeah, I do trust Google Workspace the best. Zoho's easiest to set up. I would think in the future, yes, Zoho might be the safest. I also think there's an opportunity here for another platform like Zoho, because what I would want to see is a fragmentation. I don't want to see it between Google Workspace, Zoho, or Outlook. It should be between like Zoho and 5 other Zoho clones. That'll just be the safest one. That way you're not on any of the major ones. The smaller, as long as it's a stable sending tool, the smaller your tool is, the better, because the less likely it is to get on the radar. Like we're talking about GMass getting banned. They were sending a billion cold emails. Even Raul's tweet.
This is why we can't have nice things.
No, exactly. Raul's tweet talks about how 32 million emails were analyzed by Instantly. So Instantly, let's assume that's all their emails. They're sending 32 million emails. So I would look at a tool like you said, Smart Lead, like Omni, that is only sending less than 1 million emails, because the odds that those are going to be on Google's radar are going to be a lot lower. Okay.
You make some excellent points. You make some excellent points. And I think stability, especially when you have clients that are like expecting these campaigns to go out, you're really going to have to think about these decisions. And this is something like, if this is all foreign, you're still trying to figure out what the hell's going on, take one of the, take a course or something. There's a couple, I mean, I have a course out there. There's also courses that are, Alex has a couple of courses. I would take them both. Like, there's no reason to pick and choose. I mean, obviously, like, we both kind of have a pretty good, but it just explains to you all of these concepts, and really you just got to understand, like, it's going to get a lot harder. You're going to need to be more technically savvy. You might need to hire an IT person to kind of help walk you through some of this. Right. And I think just neglecting it and saying, well, that's not a salesperson's job, that's not the right attitude either. Right. And this is where I see a lot of organizations right now that don't have the technical ability. They just sort of give up on stuff like this. And that's the worst thing you could do right now. You're better off going to learn it, going to figure out, like, what do you need to be successful? And, obviously there's not a lot of people who are that, like, there's some key people on, Twitter and some of the other platforms that know what they're doing. I mean, obviously, like Alex, the Instantly folks, the Smart Lead guy, anybody on kind of Omni and that group, Cold Email Wizard, Nick Abram, some of these people, those types of folks, start following some of them. Tom, I know Tom posts some great stuff on Twitter, but like, really just get under this stuff and really start to understand it, because it's going to really matter for your business.
I agree. Okay, Jesse, where is your course? You mentioned a course. Is there somewhere we can send people?
Yeah, if you go to community.leadmagic.io, inside there is there's a course called the Cold Email Operating System. Now, we get mixed feedback. The people who love the course, and we tell people who should buy it. It's the people who want to set up sort of cold email operating system or like more delivery focused. So we don't really recommend any tools. We just talk you through how to set up multiple inboxes, what matters in the spam filter. It's all about kind of email delivery. And then we say, here are the things you need in a sequencer. You need multiple domain names. You need Warmup. But now it's looking like you're going to need, I'll have to put an update in there, you're going to need a Warmup tool that supports IMAP and SMTP if it's going to be around very long, right? So, these are the kinds of things I put in it, but it's really just used for salespeople and agencies to kind of build out their cold email system that they can use for their clients and hit the primary inbox.
So what's that URL again?
Community.leadmagic.io. It's also at the top of my Twitter. You could get the link right off there, Jesse OGTM, or on LinkedIn in my profile. You can go right there. There's Lead Magic. You just go to my profile, Jesse Willett. Mm-hmm. And then if you go in there, you'll see a little link there right on my profile in the featured section, and you can obviously get it. It's $199. Occasionally we do specials. If you message me and you mention this, I'll give you a deal I'll give you a discount of some sort.
Cool. Sounds good. So go ahead and check that out, guys. Instantly is bugging out as well. I know this has been shocking over the last week. Instantly has basically been falling apart, and they're scrambling to pull their stuff together. So let me do this. So I know this is shocking for everybody. I want to do a special offer to you. So if you want to sign up for Omni and you're serious, we can migrate all your data and campaigns from any major tool. That includes the campaigns. We'll copy over the leads. We'll copy over even the data, so you can have historical data of all your campaigns. And we'll do that as part of the annual plan. So if you go through to Omni, you can sign up for free. You can check out the tool. You can even book a call with one of our experts for free. That'll get your entire campaign set up. And then, if you're using any of these other tools, we will even copy over everything for free. So going over to omni.us, and let's fight this cold email war together. Let's get you in inboxes. Grab Jesse's course. Grab Omni. And let's make this happen. All right, guys, that's it for the breaking news. And we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for being here, Jesse.
Yep. Take it easy.